world. We're here with Michelle Lilly-Hester, the founder of Deals in High Heels. And today we're going to talk about the topic of real estate investing with a self-directed IRA. And this information is valuable to you because everyone is looking to retire at some point in time. And typically in the past, we've been taught that we give our money to a brokerage house or we invest in work through our 401k. And we would like to shed light today on information that's available to everyone of taking control of their own retirement accounts and investing through a self-directed IRA, which gives them the freedom and better put, you become the CEO of your own retirement account and decide where your money is invested and who it is invested with. So today we have Nathan Long from Quest IRA. He's the CEO of Quest IRA, and he will be joining us today, and we'll have a hangout and a discussion about the benefits of investing through a self-directed IRA and how can they benefit you, and how you can use a self-directed IRA, as well as some of the restrictions and tax benefits that you can receive from investing through one. So let's welcome Nathan Long. Hey, Nathan.
Hey, thank you so much for having me here today.
It's a real
pleasure to be here. Always love to see you.
So Nathan, before we actually go into any questions, who is Quest? Tell us a little bit about Quest.
Well, Quest IRA is what we call a self-directed IRA custodian. A lot of people get that confused or think that it's some type of legal, different type of retirement account, and really it's not. It's just that if you go to a traditional advisor, let's say like Charles Schwab or Fidelity, Edward Jones, those guys are licensed securities agents, and their job is to sell you investments, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Doesn't make them bad people, it's just what they do. At Quest, and all those investments, they're publicly traded, overseen by the Securities and Exchange Commission. At Quest, we hold private assets in retirement accounts, things like direct purchase of real estate, notes, typically a lot of them are secured by real estate, a lot of private stock and private placements. Most of that is LLCs, as you know, that funds larger real estate projects and those type of things. So if you could take title to something and want to invest in it and not go the traditional route and know what you want to invest in, you would use a company like Quest to invest in something privately.
Okay, so what is a self-directed IRA for those out there that aren't familiar?
A lot of people think that it's different than any other type of IRA, and the term self-direction is actually just a marketing term. An IRA is an IRA is an IRA. They're all the same. So again, what's different about us is rather than us selling you investments, if you know what you want to invest in, like the project that we were just talking about before we started here, right? I want to invest in that. I have private information because of my relationship with you. It looks like it's a good investment. I can, in other words, you wouldn't go to Quest and say, Quest, what should I invest in? You have to kind of already know what you're going to invest in. I want to go buy that house that's over on 3rd Street. I want to loan money to this particular real estate investment. Or like this private placement that we're working on. I want to buy into this private placement that's going to buy an apartment complex or a shopping center or something along those lines.
Okay, so let's talk about private lending because you just hinted to that. And a lot of the deals that we've done with Quest have been people using their IRAs to actually be lenders on a project. And I know that you're also a passive investor, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, I love it a lot.
Okay.
To me, nothing makes more sense. If you look at if you went to a traditional financial advisor and you're, let's say, above 60, and you walk in the door and you sit down with them, very politely he's going to look at you and tell you, you're old. He's going to say, you're old, and you've worked hard to get this money that you saved up. And in order to, be safe, because you can't remake that money, you're not young anymore. Mm-hmm. We have to be very safe with that investment. And so they're going to put you in investments that or encourage you to go investments that are very, very safe. The problem with safe investments in the traditional world is that's CDs, bonds, things that pay very low yields, 1 or 2%. And the problem is most Americans worked hard, they've saved money all their life,
Mhm.
But the 1 or 2% doesn't even cover inflation rate, let alone, their real living expense. So they're either spending down their principal as they retire,
Mhm.
or doing what most Americans are doing, is continuing to work. If you take private lending, what a phenomenal concept this is. Think about it for just a minute. First of all, if I loan money to you,
Mhm.
there's some wonderful social things that happen. I'm not loaning money to a nameless, faceless company. I'm loaning it to you. I've known you, right? I know what you do. I know you do good work, right? I know that you're out improving the community. I know that you're going to buy an ugly house and fix it up. I know that you're going to hire local contractors. So my money is stimulating the place where I will live, work, and play. Next, I can make sure that whenever I've loaned it to you that we've closed at a title company. I have title insurance on the property. I have hazard insurance, flood insurance. In other words, my investment is insured against most things that could happen. Could the property go down in value? Certainly. Properties go up and down in value, but it never goes away. And one wonderful thing about real estate is typically when it's going down in value, the cash flow tends to go up because the rental amounts go up. So you can win either way. And in the event that something would happen to you or something, I always have the security of the property. And as a result, I get an above average return, often, above 8%, 9%, 10%, those ranges, which, are pretty substantial. I can now live a comfortable retirement off of those type of returns, and they are safe. They
Mhm.
are secured. And I'm not there worrying about toilets and tenants. Not that buying rental property is not a bad thing for a lot of people. For me, it's onerous. I'd rather give the money to you, get a nice percentage. You make some money, I make some money, and we all walk away happy as long as it's secured. And for most Americans, this is so much better of a choice than just dumping money into either taking high risk stocks to try to get the return, or dumping money into something that's guaranteed to go broke safely. As I said, if you're getting 1% or 2%, you're going to go broke safely. You can get those returns that allow for you to have retirement, allow you to grow for retirement without the labor and effort. It's a phenomenal win-win situation, in my opinion.
Okay, so let's walk me through a typical investment through someone's self-directed IRA. So I have 100,000 sitting in a self-directed IRA.
Well, there's a couple of different ways. If you like passive investing like I do, I mean, you can always take the $100,000, buy residential real estate directly, but you're dealing with, finding the renter, finding the home, hiring the contractors. It's not that that's not bad, that you'll actually get the highest return probably doing that. But there's also time. Time's an important thing, especially as you get older, you seem like you have less of it.
Mhm.
So there's two ways that I like to go. One is direct lending. I'll have a real estate investor say, hey, I've got this house that I want to buy. This is the house. This is what I'm looking to, this is what I can buy it for. This is how much I need to do the repairs. I'm going to sell or rent it. I'll provide all the money for them through directly. They open an account with us, name, rank, and serial number. We transfer them just what we need to do that particular deal. And then typically a note and deed of trust is drawn up by the title company, listing my IRA as the lender. Um, at that point, at closing, we'll fund the closing. Typically, we escrow out money for the repairs as needed. And upon the property being rehabbed, and I do both long-term and short-term type of loans, then I'll get refunded back my money along with all the interest that I've earned, and we start all over again. It works really well for me in lending, again, because I don't have to do very much. Um, I also like private placements. These are where we're going to buy something bigger. It's going to be an apartment complex, or maybe a shopping center of some type or something like that. I get to come in as a passive investor. I put my money into the deal. It is a little bit more risk, but typically you get a better return. So I like to do a mix of both type of things inside of my retirement account. Typically, $50,000 to $100,000 is a minimum buy-in, though there's ones that I know do less or whatever. And I put into that, and I'm now participating in the development of this shopping center or commercial building. I'm not in the position of making any decisions. Typically, it's a little bit longer term play. It's not very liquid. You know, you got to but it provides me to participate. For example, right now we're in an inflationary period. Everything's going up, and even though I'm getting high interest rates on some of my loans, I want to hold some real estate because real estate in Houston here is going through the roof. Mm-hmm. So my private placements, my apartment complexes, those are great places to be right now. And that's why I'm looking to purchase more of those particular types of assets. And again, I'm just relating my personal experience because that's all you really have, you know, is to go. And I get to see a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of clients make a lot of money off of private placements. They do very, very well for most clients, and they're, again, very hands-off. I like the hands-off type of approach to some of the investing. You do have to do your own due diligence. You want to make sure that you're dealing with someone that's reputable, someone that is out in the community, you know, and involved, not just someone that's popped up and, you know, gone here today and gone tomorrow. You want to take a little bit of time and look at the property itself and make sure that you feel comfortable with you know, the type of investing that you do, that they're using adequate contractors and, you know, those type of things. But overall, it can be both very rewarding socially as well as financially, because again, you get to see this stuff being improved in your own community. And it's not like this mutual fund that you really don't know where your money's at and what it's invested in. You can drive by it and see it and touch it and feel it. And to me, if you're investing in things you know and understand, typically you'll do better than if you're just throwing your money out there and hoping for the best.
Okay. So Nathan, when the returns come back, and so you've done a deal with someone now, and they've purchased the property, they've rehabbed it, and now they've sold it, and so the profit comes.
That all happens into the IRA, right? So just like if you had purchased a stock in an IRA, you took an asset of cash, you exchanged it for a stock of Coca-Cola or something like that. It goes up or down in value. You've then sold off that stock and replaced the stock back to an asset of cash. Just simply take out the word stock and put loan, put piece of real estate, put private placement memorandum, you know, whatever it is that we're purchasing. And then the same process happens. A lot of people get it confused. They think that they use a self-directed IRA, they remove the money from the IRA, pay taxes and penalties, which is not what happens. There's no taxes or penalties because we're never removing anything from the IRA. The IRA is purchasing the loan or the private placement. And that's something that often gets confused. Thank you for bringing that up.
So what are the tax benefits then that I receive when I invest through my IRA?
Well, there is no taxation. All the taxation is either tax deferred, or if it's in, let's say, a Roth IRA or one of those type of accounts, Roth 401k or health savings account or Coverdell, all of the gains are completely tax free. If it's a traditional type of IRA, then it's tax deferred. When I remove the money from the IRA or take a distribution, then it adds to my modified adjusted growth income then. But it's kind of cool. You're not having to deal with some of the tax consequences or even the hassles of filing with taxes in those cases.
So I can just keep growing my retirement account at better than average returns, and I'm in control of what it's invested in. That's
correct. You can, and the control leads to the better and average returns. You see, if you're just throwing your money out there like most Americans do, which is what we've been trained. We've been trained to get a good education, work hard, right? Put 10% away, you know, white sand beaches when we retire. But most Americans, when you see them reaching retirement age, are still working. And the reason they're still working is because they can't get the returns that they need from their investments. And the reason is when I invest in a mutual company, there's a whole string of people who are making money off my investment other than me. And in addition to that, I'm not saying other people need to make money too, right? But at the same time, there's just too much in between that. If I'm directly lending to you, right, yes, you're going to make profit off of that deal. I'm going to make a nice interest rate. But that's all the more the string is, right? And because of that, there allows for you to pay me a higher rate of return. For you, it works well because unlike going to a bank and borrowing money, you don't have application fees and all these other bank fees that hit you. Even if the interest rate's a little bit lower, you get killed with all the bank fees, and for a shorter term, 6 month, 8 month, 1 year loan, you can get killed. So it works really well for the real estate investor. It works really well for the IRA holder because it's a passive investment. I don't know. I love win-win scenarios myself.
Right. So it creates a win-win. You mentioned something. You mentioned other accounts that you can invest in and have the same benefits of a self-directed IRA. So if I had a child that I wanted to invest for their education, how would I go about doing that? How does Quest help me do that?
Types of accounts that you can actually self-direct, including the traditional and Roth IRA. Those are personal type of accounts that are used for retirement. We also have employer type plans like SEP IRAs, simple IRAs, or 401ks. These are individual 401ks. They're very powerful and allow for very large contributions and have lots of benefits. But there's also ancillary accounts like Coverdell education accounts to help pay for your children's college, and health savings accounts pay for qualified medical expenses. And all of that can be self-directed to grow completely tax-free or tax-deferred. And what a lot of people don't realize is you may have a smaller account, maybe you have a small Roth IRA, you might have a traditional IRA or 401k, and your wife has a traditional IRA. You can actually combine all those accounts to do one investment. So maybe you only had $5,000 in one of those smaller accounts, but you had $45,000 the other. You wanted to invest in this apartment complex. You can put them together to make the $50,000 that you needed. That way, the larger amount of money is helping the smaller amount of money carry itself at that increased interest.
That's good information. So what are the restrictions?
There are certainly restrictions when you're dealing with these types of accounts. There's people restrictions, transaction restrictions, and there's also investment restrictions. And the people restrictions are the important one. There are people that can't do business with the IRA, and primarily they're talking about yourself. Mm-hmm. You see, your benefit to an IRA is when you retire, when you take that money out. For now, so you can't invest in a property that you're going to live in, or you can't invest into a limited partnership or loan money to yourself. It must loan it to a third party. In other words, you have to be hands-off on the investment. Your investment must be made for investment purposes only. In addition to you being disqualified, you can't also loan money to your spouse, your children or parents, lineal ascendants or descendants, their spouses, or companies those people own, control, manage, or highly compensated by. That being said, what those people can't do are the transaction restrictions, which is you can't buy, sell, trade, or extend services to or from. So if you already own something, you can't sell it to your IRA, or your IRA can't sell it to you. It must be standalone, what we call arm's length transaction for the purposes of investment, remembering that your benefit is upon retiring when you invest only. That's why I might have some of my own projects, but I would never fund them with my IRA. I talk to you and I fund your projects with my IRA, and then I find other ways to fund my personal projects and things that we do.
So Nathan, if it was one thing, or what would be the takeaways? What do you want people, and what would you have people know about self-directed IRAs that hasn't been told, and you want to educate people so that that way they can take control of their own retirement and possibly make above average returns using a self-directed IRA and being a private lender?
Well, I think the big takeaway that you got to have is you have to have control over your own retirement. 9 out of 10 times when someone's talking to somebody about what they're going to invest in, they're talking to somebody who is getting a commission off of what the choices that they make. Whether they're talking to an insurance guy who's selling annuities or those type of things, you're talking to a stockbroker who's selling specific stocks. That doesn't make them bad people. You just need to understand that. sometimes it's nice to have a person like Quest that's a complete neutral party. I'm not involved in your deal. That that we can talk about the rules and regulations and what to do, and talk about it. But you need to invest in things that you know and understand, right? For you, with all that you know about real estate, it would be really silly for you to go invest in biotech companies. You know what I mean? What should your money be invested in? It should be invested in real estate. Maybe if you know about oil wells, that's where you should be invested. If you know about something else, that's where you should be invested. I love real estate because it's very forgiving, and there are positions that you can take with very low education, like being a lender, and secure yourself in such a way to provide the higher rate of return. But if you're just waiting for it all to happen and you to just get lucky or whatever by investing in those mutual funds or stocks, I think that for most Americans, they're going to be led down a path that's probably not going to lead them to what they need in retirement. So I'd say the takeaway is take control of your own environment and invest in things that you know best.
So since I've been investing in real estate and have been partnering with individuals who's used their IRA to be the private lender on our projects, one of the things that I've learned, and I know I'll do in the future as well when I'm on the opposite side of it and I'm actually the lender investing in others' projects, is that I found that one of the great things is that they have a collateral that's typically has equity and below market. So if for any reason it needs to be sold in order to take the money back and put in the IRA, put back in the IRA, we can do that and still typically make a profit.
Yes, that's one of the best parts about collateral-based lending, is even in the worst case scenario, you typically still make profit. I've had, over the years of lending money on, I've had to foreclose 5 times. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you that all 5 times that I had to foreclose, it wasn't because the real estate investor was a bad person. A couple of times they died. I mean, it just happens, We had some situations where people gotten sick. One guy just got overburdened with some other things. They were all good people, but I ended up having to take over the property. Not what I really wanted to do, but the properties were in Texas. Very easy to foreclose in Texas. That's a big advantage, and ended up making more money than I would have just in every single case that I would have just off the loan. Because, like you said, the properties typically have equity, in them, and it like I said, it can be very profitable. You can get above average returns and sleep well at night. I mean, you know that you're investing in something. I see the stuff that you work on. It's not like you're just throwing up a shack. You're making something that makes our community better. You're beautifying our neighborhoods. You're taking what's typically a blight on our community and making it look good, providing jobs, making it work. So I see my money at work. There is a social component to investing locally in things that you know and understand that actually give me warm and fuzzy feelings well outside of the security that I feel, right? I'm always more concerned about the return of my money than the interest I'm going to make on my money. I'm a pretty conservative investor, as you know. So I like the fact that, yes, I'm getting a good return, but the more important part is I know I'm going to get my money back, right? I know at least I'm going to get my money back, and then I know also that I'm not investing in something that isn't in line with my social or ethical intentions. Very
good. Well, Nathan, I want to thank you for your time and thank you for sharing the information that you shared. Again, everyone, this is Nathan Long, the CEO of Quest IRA. Nathan, can you tell them how to contact Quest IRA if they're interested in opening up?
Sure. My personal email is just simply nathan@questira, QUEST, I invite you to look at our website. We have lots of free education. Depending on the location of the country you're in, we have lots of events. We have offices in different areas of the company. Our main office is in Houston. Or you can just call 281-492-3434 and ask for one of my IRA specialists on staff, or ask for me. I'll try to pick up the phone myself.
Okay, Nathan. Well, thanks a lot for your time, and look forward to seeing you again.
I can't wait to see you. I guess it's going to be next week, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you
All
then.
right.
Bye now.
Thanks, Nathan.